Welcome to the True Born Sons of Liberty radio broadcast. I'm your host, Stephen L. Anderson, pastor of Faithful Word Baptist Church in Tempe, Arizona. Today I want to relate an experience that my brother-in-law had recently at the doctor. My brother-in-law lives over in Texas, and he went to the doctor, just a typical problem that he was seeing the doctor for, and he was a little bit startled because the doctor asked him questions like, how many children do you have? How many boys? How many girls? Which, that seems pretty normal, right? But then he asked him if he had any guns. He asked him what kind of guns he had. He asked him where he was storing the guns. Now, this is very strange to me that an adult man shows up at the doctor by himself, he's getting checked out, he's getting taken care of, and he's asked about the guns that he has in his house and where he's storing them. Now, this is a true story. This just happened less than 2 weeks ago. And as we were talking about it, I was talking to my sister, and we basically also were talking about the fact that every time she takes her children to the pediatrician, they ask her, do you spank your children? How do you discipline your children? And they grill her with all these kind of questions. And they're not only are they just asking these questions, they're writing down the answers to questions about firearms, questions about how you discipline your child. This is very scary that doctors now are basically being used by the government as spies. Why else would they be writing down information about your firearms or about your children or about spankings and all these different kind of things? It's really none of their business. It really has nothing to do with what my brother-in-law was at the doctor for. Now, I can understand them asking questions of a woman about her, children, childbirth history. It's pertinent to her health. But I don't think a man's health is really affected by how many children he has or whether there are this many boys and this many girls. And again, this wasn't friendly conversation. This was a questioning that took place. And not only that, I can dead sure tell you that how many guns he owns or where he keeps his guns is really of no consequence to a doctor's visit. And so this is something that we need to watch out for. And I would recommend that if you go to the doctor and you're asked questions that have nothing to do with your health, that have nothing to do with the reason that you're there, I would recommend just not answering the questions, because why in the world do you have to just tell people all this information just because they ask? It may be wise to start not answering these type of questions, and then maybe doctors will realize that we don't want to be interrogated. We don't want to be grilled about these type of things by a doctor. I mean, we're there to get health advice. We're there to get treatment. We're not there to fill out some government questionnaire about our home life and about our weapons. You say, Pastor Anderson, what's the big deal? Owning a gun's not illegal. Spanking your children isn't illegal. Well, sure, today it's not, but throughout history, lists like this have been used when guns do become illegal, and when the government wants to confiscate guns. Boy, they would love to have a list of everyone who owns a gun so that they can round up our guns and violate our Second Amendment rights. And not only that, but we think of, as Christians, we know that the Bible says, he that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. We know that the Bible says the rod and reproof give wisdom. We know that spanking our children is commanded to us numerous times in the book of Proverbs alone. And so we think that spanking our children is right because the Bible tells us that we must spank our children. But our society today is increasingly getting away from God, away from the Bible. One day, God forbid, spanking your own children lovingly on their behind may become illegal one day. It may become illegal to have weapons as our government becomes more and more totalitarian in nature. And so we need to nip this in the bud right away and stop answering questions to doctors that have nothing to do with our health. Thank you for listening to the True Born Sons of Liberty radio broadcast. If you'd like to keep this show on the air, please send your donations to True Born Sons, care of KXXT Radio, 2800 North 44th Street, Suite 100, Phoenix, Arizona 85008, or visit us on the web at truebornsons.com.